The biggest thing in coming out of day 11 for me and kind of looking at this observation and opinion more in a holistic nature than a one game or one practice sample size. What we've done in these observations and opinions is I've taken the day, things that stand out to me, things that kind of did not go our way in some areas, and then we go from there. And then we chuck on to the next day, and we chuck on to the next day. Well, today what you and I are going to do is we're going to go through a lot of these different things. The first place that we need to start off is the offensive running game. Guys, the biggest offseason thing I feel like for you, for this offense going into 2025, had to be about what you did in the run game. I think that there are a couple of things you could have talked about. You could have talked about maybe we need some depth at receiver. Maybe, we need to figure out some ways and get with Garrett and go through the film and break and turn down those turnovers. But the number one thing had to be, how do we fix this run game? Now, you went out in the portal and you got an offensive center from Virginia Tech. You went out there and got Josh Thompson to play right guard for you. And quite honestly, I was expecting, hey, can we take a step forward in the run game? You were 108th in the country last year. You don't need me to run all through that. What you also don't need me to do is talk about the 4 games that you lost last season when you went through USC, A&M, Bama, and Florida, and even had to go into overtime versus Ole Miss. Even in all 5 of those games, you didn't crack 100 yards rushing per average. Actually, what you did was, in the 4 losses that you had a season ago, out of 133 teams that play Division I football, in those games, in those situations, against ranked opponents, you are 128th in the country out of 133 teams in rushing. No, I don't think that there was a bigger thing that you could talk about. Maybe you could have talked about the red zone. And, hey, Blake, we're so horrible there. If we don't score points, nothing matters. You're right. Yards don't mean shit. Yards are a byproduct of how many points normally you score. Yards mean nothing when you can't score. Go back and watch the Florida game from a season ago. I'm not sure why they keep trying to do this run game with the Wildcat. I don't get it. Because maybe that's something that they're just showing us. For all I know, I don't know what I don't know. I should just say that. But one thing for sure that I know is simple. You better figure something out in the run game, and you better figure it out quick. You're not going to go anywhere if you don't have it. Now, can this offensive line continue to be better by the time that you get to Clemson? Can you go into Clemson, South Carolina, and run the football? Guys, excuse me. I hope that the entire season we are able to run the football, and we look back at fall camp and say, you know what, man? Maybe for whatever reason, even though I don't think inside zone is something very complicated, maybe it did take them time. Maybe there was something going on. Maybe, who knows? But the bottom line is right now, it has been a weak point. It was a weak point from you post Jane Daniels a season ago. It's a weak point for you in fall camp. You better figure it out, because I got 10 observations and opinions here, and 3 of them have everything to do about the running game. Do you need to move Carius Kern into guard? Do you need to move Paul Mabing into guard? Do you need to figure something out? Do you need to try Tyree Adams at a guard and then try to move somebody at tackle? Shit, I don't know. One thing I know is that when you're trying to run inside zone and inside basic dive play, you're not going anywhere. Not consistently, you're not. There have been some explosive plays. And quite honestly, as I'm hitting 1, 2, and 3, so first 3 observations and opinions are right out of the gate. You need Caden Durham and Caleb Jackson to go off. Caleb Jackson a year ago had 753 rushing yards and 260 receiving yards. Guys, he had 1,000 total yards from scrimmage a season ago with 8 touchdowns. Can he take that rushing game up to 900, to 1,000, to 1,100? Can he take that receiving game up to 350, 400, 450? Can he crack that double-digit touchdown number that we desperately need him to have? Because if you do, and quite honestly, even if you're just throwing the ball out of the backfield, I consider that an extension of your run game, even if you're doing that. Now, you got to catch the ball. had a bit of the dropsies today. But regardless of that, there are three things that you need to figure out on your run game. Is this the best offensive line unit? How do we generate push in the interior? What do we do there? It seems to me right now, this wildcat formation, guys, I would beg to bet right now, maybe FanDuel can do a special odds for us, that you're going to come out of Saturday's scrimmage and they're going to lock that thing down, and you're going to have some people there, and they're going to be like, oh, Juwan Johnson scored from the wildcat formation. It's coming. It's coming. But, guys, when we're there, it's not been working. So either they got to cut this or they better figure it out quickly. Maybe they're using our practice periods because they know Clemson people are watching us, and they're like, we better prepare for the wildcat. We better prepare for the wildcat. Maybe it is. I don't know. What I do know is that Caden Durham's got to be big for you. God bless it, he doesn't get hurt. Caleb Jackson's got to step up. Harlan Berry's got to step up. But, guys, your run game has not been great right now, and that's just a bona fide fact. The fourth thing about this offensive team that I would point out is, guys, that I have a quarterback right now in Garrett Nussmeier that I think is making some high-level elite NFL throws. I think he's making some high elite NFL decisions. But his offense continues to go 3 and out. I for the life of me, I just can't. You can't run the ball to help him. I don't think that play calling that we've seen has given him a lot of beneficiary stuff to move the sticks. What I do know is that when he's given time, guys, I think that Garrett's had a really phenomenal camp. The turnovers, again, are way down. I do feel like we were in about double-digit interceptions this time last year. I have not seen that. Those have come down. And I think the biggest thing that you worked on, another big thing that you worked on, which should have been the running game in the red zone, is reducing Garrett's turnovers. And I think he's been a really good decision maker. You go out there Saturday night versus Clemson, can you translate that? Because some of the boneheaded decisions, and he literally went out at SEC Medias and said this, some of the boneheaded decisions I made put my team in too much of a catastrophic situation, and we can't have those. No, because you keep having them, A&M happens. But for what it's worth, I think he's made some high-level elite throws under pressure, and he's made some really, really good decisions. Keep stacking days like that, man. He's going to look really good. All right, a couple more of these before we get out of here. Guys, I think the safety room has been we talk about the running game, but even in talking about the running game offensively, one thing that has prevented Caleb Durham, Caleb Jackson, Harlan Berry, Juwan Johnson from breaking some of these long runs is that number 7 and Harold Perkins, number 13 and A.J. Halsey, and either Tamarcus Cooley or Deshaun Spears from that safety position, guys, they've come down and stopped the run. It's not like Caleb Jackson's easy to tackle. It's not like Caden Durham's easy to tackle. When there's been some gains here, 3 and 4, A.J. Halsey going to be up in there. He's going to be up in there. Just think, I feel like the decision for me right now is, God, I feel like you're so much better at safety. One of the media members today said it made him happy to see that he was moaning. I'll just put it like that. Safety room's a lot more talented, and I think they're going to make a lot more plays for you. Gives you a lot of courage. The interior defensive line. We got maybe one more. How about this? We'll just go with the entire defensive line. I think that you've been very solid there. They're deep and they keep making plays, man, over and over and over again against this team. I mean, guys, it has been crazy, to be real with you. This defense just had a better camp than they did in year one under Blake Baker. That's for damn sure. Maybe not as many turnovers because Garrett's eliminating those turnovers. But man, they've just been good. I think corner outside of Mansour Delane, guys, it is an outright battle right now. And we'll see who wins that other boundary position. They've thrown Stamps out there. I think Stamps has done some good things like he did today. They've put PJ Woodland like they did out there today. And Blake Baker said as much as in reference to, listen, we're going to give these guys opportunities and we're going to see how things play out. You got some depth there. Jakeem Jackson, is out right now and not really practicing much. So can one of these guys step up? That will be the ultimate question. All in all, in observations and opinions, let's get to the final point here. The final point that I would make is through 11 days is this. I think defensively, you might just actually be that much better. I hope that we're not in a situation where, like we were a year ago, hey, man, this offensive line is pushing this defense around. You're running the ball at a high level, and on we go, and we get in the season. It's the worst thing that you did. I don't think we're doing that defensively because, quite honestly, guys, they will come up and knock your block off. I don't think Caden Durham stinks. I don't think that Garrett Nussmeier stinks. I don't think these receivers stink. I think you've had some issues along your offensive line. And even when you've broken through, some of the play that you've gotten from safety, like guys, as of right now, based off what we've seen the last 2 days, Jordan Gilbert gets moved down to that star role behind Harold Perkins. And they're telling him, listen, buddy, you're not going to play unless you move to star. You're just not going to, because Deshaun Spears, A.J. Halsey, Tamarcus Cooley have made that high level of an impact. They've made that high level of an impact. And what I would say here is, defensively, you have done some very, very, very good things. What I am hopeful, I don't know if this is going to happen. What I am hopeful for is that you get out there on Saturday versus Clemson and it turns to pass against an offense, guys, that quite honestly, I think is better than yours. I think right now, and based off of going into the preseason, they might be better than yours. You just got to get to a spot where, man, defense might have to carry you the first couple of weeks until you figure some things out along this offense. If what fall camp comes to pass, if that is what comes to pass, great. And if you can win those games, great. And Garrett's going to just have to continue to make some absolutely nuclear throws that just quite honestly put you in the position to win. I hope that you're just facing a really good defense every day. It's my hope. And I would like for it to be more back and forth, but maybe you just are going up against a very strong unit. Right now, I would say that I don't think this camp has been bad at all. What I think this camp has been is you being in a situation where, man, you're just around more athletes than you're normally used to defensively. So we will see.